Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My talk is about work, about the last 25 years of work that I've been involved in with people who are homeless, primarily people who also have clinical conditions related to their homelessness, people with mental health and physical health problems, people with complex histories of criminal justice behavior, and people that we have been seeing far too long on our national landscape over the last 25 or 30 years. And it's particularly poignant because most of the people in this room under 30 may think that homelessness is something that comes with the territory, that there are homeless people around. But those of us over 30 who can't be trusted anymore know that homelessness is something that started in the early 80s. It's the longest period of homelessness we've had in this country. We've had homelessness before during the Great Depression, but it was over. This has lasted 30 years since the Reagan administration and continues today. And there's a price that we're paying for homelessness that I think not noticing is costing not only the people who are still homeless on the street, but also costing us. Because if we take for granted the feelings of seeing a homeless person and walking by them, we have to, of necessity, shut down part of ourselves in order to tolerate the pain that we're walking past. And in that way, we're together in a shared suffering that actually can be alleviated. There are far too many homeless people in this country. Estimates range between 3 and 15 million people. And in the recent mortgage foreclosure crisis, the numbers are growing and the diversity of people who are homeless is also growing. The group I'm focusing on is a group that is literally homeless, on the street, has many clinical conditions. This group came to my attention. I was trained as a clinical psychologist at New York University, and on my walk to work in the East Village from Bellevue Hospital, in the early 80s, I would see more and more people living on the sidewalks of New York City. This was not unique to New York City. This was a phenomenon that was going on all over the country. And most disturbing was the fact that I would see people on the sidewalk that had been in treatment in the hospital just the month before. And there was a repetitive quality to people being hospitalized, or disappearing from the sidewalk, coming back to their spot over and over again. And this group of people began to gather a lot of different labels about them. Because we were consistently failing to help them constructively, what we did was we began to label them as treatment resistant, hard to reach. It's often the case that when you see a person with multiple problems, the inclination for us, both on a personal level and also on a policy level, is to hold them accountable for their suffering. We're doing this right now in 23 states across the country where we're going to require urine tox testing for people to receive welfare benefits or food stamps. There's something about an implicit assumption that because the person is homeless or not doing well, that is something about them. Perhaps they're not working hard enough, or perhaps what they have given to them has been squandered. But there is a subtle blaming the victim of the person who's not doing well rather than looking at the system that's treating them. The system we created to treat people with homelessness and mental illness is a very difficult system to engage in for the people on the street. This is a system based on the belief that people with mental illness and addiction must first be treated for their mental illness and addiction before they can be housed. There's no way someone like this can go into an apartment of their own, people would think. What about their drinking? What about their mental illness? In addition, the people on the street wouldn't want to participate in government programs. Some believe that the government is monitoring them and they don't want to give their identification. They know the government's going to know what books they read or what numbers they call. Well, that actually turned out to be true, but that's a different story. The disengagement of the person wanting a place to live and a system that's offering treatment and sobriety and participation in program as a condition for housing has failed people like this for years. Our desperation in trying to serve them out of that Bellevue Hospital unit is really what created a transformative moment. I mean, the talk is about ending homelessness and transforming lives, and it's mostly about transforming the lives of the people that we serve, but it's also about the transformation of the lives of the people doing the serving, my own life and the people I work with, and the 180-degree shift we had to take in order to learn how to help people effectively. It turns out that our clinical expertise was really discordant with what people wanted. People would say, no, I don't need to go into alcoholism treatment. I've had a drinking problem since I was a teenager, or I've had mental health problems when I was young. I need a place to live first. No one would give people like this an opportunity to live anywhere. And we created this Housing First program in '92, and we began basically to take people from the streets into an apartment of their own. People wanted a place of their own, a simple place, nothing fancy, but the privacy, the dignity of being able not to live in a crowded shelter setting, to make their own meals, watch their own TV, sleep when they want, wake when they want. Simple dignities of life is all that they wanted. We had to accept that as their reality, and as clinicians having to put aside our own beliefs about what was clinically possible for someone who has serious mental illness. They have schizophrenia, bipolar illness. Can we really trust that they know what they're doing? And the transformative moment for us was to basically accept that person's point of view, allow ourselves to be changed by their needs and their wants rather than us to impose our beliefs upon them. That was the moment that allowed us to take that chance, bring the person to the housing that they wanted, housing of their choice. They didn't want to live in the big box with 30 other people that were also mentally ill with them. They wanted to live in a place of their own. We had teams visiting and supporting them. And miraculously, people did so much better than we thought possible. It seems, in hindsight, so simple that somebody that had to walk to the church program to get breakfast and then find a place where they can use the bathroom during the day and then walk another 2 miles to go to the shelter at night would do so much better in an apartment where the kitchen, bathroom, and bedroom were all in one place. They had those survival skills all along. They just weren't as evident to us as they knew they had themselves. The program has worked remarkably well, not only from a housing perspective, people get housed and stay housed, but they also do, this is a randomized controlled trial. It was sort of, even though from the very first year we had about an 85% success rate, and those of you that know about research, you know, 85% is a very high level of success. Treatment as usual was at somewhere between 20 and 25%. So we're talking about a magnitude of change that is extraordinary. So the program worked very well. It was hard to get people to believe it, but with the research and the data that showed its success, people began to take chances all over the country in starting programs like this. The thing that sold both sides of the aisle, both Republican and Democrat, was the fact that putting someone in a home turns out to be much cheaper than keeping them homeless. The person who's homeless is going in and out of hospital and jail. drop-in centers, and all of those costs are associated with expensive public health systems that still keep the person homeless and not doing well. So Housing First created a safe place to live. The services were effective. People all over the country began to take the program seriously and replicate it, as you saw on those maps. The main lessons learned in listening to people and respecting their wishes, that people, even who appear so different than yourself in many ways, have a valid point of view, and that the success of the program is based on a collaborative effort, that homelessness is not like cancer or Alzheimer's disease. We have a cure for homelessness. It's quite simple. The thing that's lacking is the political will and the advocacy, which is what I leave you with in terms of our challenge to change it. We could end homelessness tomorrow if we had the political will to make that message known. And it would be good for the people who are homeless, as well as a healing of our own society in making it a more just and caring place. Thank you.